Peace and infinite love, Star family. It's your girl Sharice here on behalf of Crystal Hype to promote that self awareness and that unity. I'm bouncing around because I'm a little bit anxious. I really want to talk about something that I learned this year. I want to talk about the importance of energy, where we put our energy, what we are being fed, how we nurture ourselves, what we allow into our internal worlds, how we guard our gates, our eye gates, our mouth gates, what enters and leaves our mouth, what goes into our ears, everywhere on the body where there's an entrance, a possible penetration can happen is called a gate. We have to guard our gates like never before this season because we can see the world trying to program fear. Fear, 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 fear. And that's a direct attack to the heart chakra. Okay, so that being said, why are we being attacked? Why is our hearts being attacked? Because our hearts have transformative powers, right? Coming down to just thinking about, the heart, the human heart. It allows us to forgive. It allows us to be transformed. It allows us to overcome. It allows us to be courageous. It allows us to, step into a new direction, With all that being said, fear is something that is being instilled through viruses, through the media, through new protocols, through lockdowns, through new information that's coming out. Like the young people growing up in this generation have so much weight to deal with, have so much energetic warfare that they have to deal with. And all of us, we all have this going on, but especially the younger generation, I really feel for, because when I was growing up, I didn't have to worry and stress about things that the young people growing up are stressing about, you know what I mean? And it's detrimental that we be here to support and encourage and uplift one another instead of, throwing low blows and calling each other names and calling your generation's lazy, your generation's entitled. You don't know the warfare that our generation is going through. And that's another thing I want to mention. Every single generation has a different capacity. So my generation may be able to deal with depression really well, but the generation after me cannot handle depression. Your generation might be really good at finding sources of income, but my generation is very poor at finding sources of income. So every single generation, there's a strength and there's a weakness. Instead of pointing fingers and belittling generations, why don't we use our resources, our wisdom, our heart, our encouragement, our love, and our light to uplift one another than to bring each other down? One thing I notice is that hurt people. So if someone is hurting you, just know that they're hurt and pray for them. All right? If somebody's bringing you down, just know it's because you're already above them. They are below you. So chill out. Don't react. Don't stress out. I want to talk about the garden of life. We are the gardens. We have to nurture, we have to water, we have to take care of, we have to uproot the bad seeds that have been planted in our earth, in our soil. Think of your life as your mind. Think of your mind like a garden. You need to uproot the things that people have planted, the programming that have been planted, the fear that has been planted, the negative self-image that has been planted. So I want to have a session right now to talk about reflecting on 2020. Yes, it was so chaotic, and yes, there were so many things that came into our realities to disturb us and to shift our energies from progress and growth to world disaster and fear. But this is a test, this is a challenge to allow us to grow stronger in our faith, all right? I want to ask a question. Identify your method of healing. What is your method of healing? And this year, I literally discovered it. Or I always knew it in the back of my mind, but this year it really was established. My method of healing is loving. My method of healing is giving. My method of healing is creating, whether it be arts, whether it be jewelry, whether it be music. As I express, my self-expression is my method of healing. Whether it's through giving, whether it's through creating art, I heal through my self-expression. How about you? Second thing, I want you to identify 3 things that you're most proud of. So in your garden, in your mental garden, in your mind universe, we're going to call that a garden. What are 3 things that you're most proud of? And these are the the biggest flowers in your garden, you know, the strongest flowers, the most beautiful flowers in your garden. What are 3 things that you're most proud of? For me this year, I'd say I'm most proud of my process of elimination this year. My honesty with myself this year, and my ability to forgive this year. That's what I'm going to put as my 3 flowers, the things that I'm most proud of. 3 things that I want to change or I must change. So these are going to be the weeds in your garden that you need to uproot. So 3 things that you must change. 3 things that I must change is 1, my use of technology. I think I'm an overuser of technology, you know, and I'm being honest. So 1 is the technology. I must change the amount of time, the amount of energy that I put into the technology, and put more of that energy into myself. What else must I change? I must change the inconsistency in my growth and my progress and in my creativity. And the last thing I want to change are like my negative self-doubt thoughts. Okay, so those are 3 things that I want to change. How about you? Now, I want you to think about 3 goals that you're going to accomplish for 2021. And that's going to be your fertilizer. Okay, so 3 goals for me is more water, more nature, and more daily physical activity. More creativity too, that's 4, but the next thing, what are 3 habits that you're going to start to enhance your journey for 2021? 3 habits that you're going to start. Waking up early, doing daily devotionals, and learning on a cellular level. That's for me. How about you? So what is the greatest, I'm going to ask you a few questions that you can just ponder on yourself, because this video is not going to be too long, but what are the greatest challenges that you overcame this year? Write these questions down. Who needs to be acknowledged this year? Who needs to be acknowledged? Who encouraged you, supported you, loved you, you know? Who? What is the most memorable moment that stands out for you this year? It's good to reflect on these things so we can really recall how blessed we are. Gratitude is the best attitude. Although 2020 made us feel like we need to buy a 4-liter bottle of water and drink it all at the same time, 2020 was also one of the most blessed years of my whole life. What's the best thing you learned this year? What's the single most time waster of the year? For me, you already know, it's probably the technology time, you know? How about you? What is the song of the year? I don't know about y'all, but that Jesus is King album by Kanye West, whoo, 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 that was fire. Okay, for me personally. What's the best thing you tasted this year? I don't know about y'all. I love to eat. The best thing I tasted this year, probably I made some coconut dal sometime this year, and I loved it. It was delicious. I also made tofu scramble this year. I learned how to make that. That was delicious too. Yeah, those are probably the 2 things that I would give myself the highest ratings for. Also my smoothies, but that's a regular thing. And if you can name this year 2020 as something, what would you name 2020? 2020 was the year of? What was it for you? For me, 2020 was the year of truth for the eye. You understand? And, you know, we have to create more space in our hearts to appreciate the experiences, even though people are like, I can't wait for 2020 to be over. 2020 sucks. Listen, there is no 2020. There's only now. There's only your present moment. There's no 2021. There's only now, and then now, and after now is now. And then consistent, persistent, present moments is the only thing that we got going on. You know what I mean? So I want us to just, practice more compassion, practice more reflection. 2020 was a year of strength, a year of courage, a year of growth, and a year of transformation. They are coming for our heart chakras, family. So if you're not practicing forgiveness, if you're not practicing self-love, if you're not practicing compassion, you know what I mean? If you're not practicing surrender and release and the power to let go, you are going to be manipulated, abused, and used by the system to get an agenda across. I don't know about you guys, but the only one that can use the I is the I and I. So I give thanks to the Most High for making me present, for sharing this beautiful reflection with y'all. I'd like to see some of y'all comments in the comment section. Y'all write this down. This is some good stuff to reflect on before the year ends. And more love. You already know what it is. Your girl S here on behalf of Crystal Hype. In my PJs, giving thanks to the Most High for just love and light and water. Make sure you're drinking your water. That was a nice exit.